and welcome back to my channel, Agnete Cardigan. My name is Manon and I'm a programmer, horsey girl and a knitter, and it's the knitting of course that we talk about on this channel. I'm joined by Archie again, who is not sleeping yet, but I'm sure you'll hear him snoring in just a bit. For today we're just going to do a regular knitting update. What progress have I made? I've made progress on all 3 of my whips, so that's lovely. I've not cast on anything else yet, which means I've filled that October, but a little bit about that in a bit. Archie, you can't be growling during this. It's just someone walking their dog. So yeah, filled October, basically, because I still haven't cast on my socks. I'm fully blaming the Testknit, which is a choice I made, so it's all my fault. I'm not sure I'm going to make my autumn plans. Well, no, I'm sure I'm not going to make it, but we can go over by how far I'm feeling, basically. And there's going to be a new cast on very soon because I'm crazy. And my friends and I are doing Secret Santas, and I decided that it would be a great idea to do a knit gift. And it's something that is going to be color work, and I've never made before, and it has to be done in less than a month. And I don't have the yarn yet. I've ordered it. But okay, that is basically what we're going to talk about today. So yeah, let's dive right in. Let me get the project. We're going to start with the one that is at the top of the pile, and that is the Highland sweater. Let me get all of the yarn because I just joined a new ball and it's ginormous. This is the Rerum Natura Gilead and it's 100 grams per ball. You can see it. I've got a big head. It's a big ball. We could do Archie for scale, but I'm not sure if that's a very great idea. This is how big the ball is compared to Archie's head. I joined a new ball because I had a great plan and I'm basically failing at a great plan. I just realized I wanted to know if I needed more or less than one entire ball for a sleeve. But I'm an idiot because I finished the previous ball on the body and I thought as soon as I finish that one, I'll move over to the sleeve, which is a requirement for the Testknit. I have to do the yoke and one sleeve before the deadline, which is the 30th of November. So yeah, I have about 2 weeks left. That's not too much, but I mean, this knits up pretty fast. But anyway, the kind of silly thing I did is I finished the ball on the body, and so I cut the yarn, put it on the cord, and then I was like, oh no, but let's do the collar because then I will know how it fits and it's going to be, I don't know, better to try it on. But so I've just joined a new ball for that. So what I might do is once I'm done with the collar, I'll get another ball of this to start the sleeve, and I'll keep this one for after that one is finished. That way I don't know, it's not that it's required for the pattern to know how much goes into one sleeve. It's just a weird little me thing that I want to know. It doesn't even matter. I could just weigh how much is left in this and then also use that for the sleeve. I don't know. I'm just being weird, I guess. But before I keep on rambling, this is how much I have. I thought I had put a marker where I left last time, but I can't see it. I can't remember where I was last time. I think I had joined in the front. I either had just about joined in the round or just about not. I don't think I had, in fact. I need to rewatch my own knitting updates because we're like 2 weeks on and my memory is just not equipped to deal with that amount of time having elapsed. And I really thought I put a stitch marker in it, but I don't see it anywhere. So either the stitch marker fell off, which could happen, or I forgot to put it there. But if I had not joined in the round last time you saw this, then the only modification I did, it's not a big one, but compared to what is in the pattern, and this is a test knit, so the pattern's not out yet, is instead of doing backwards loop for joining under the other underarm, where I have to add some stitches, is what I do, I don't know what it's called, but I think it's a knitted cast on, and you have to sort of do it the wrong way around, so you have to purl it on. But it's supposed to help with not creating massive holes, you know, when you join the sleeves. And I can't remember if I did it for, I think I did it for this. This is the Champagne cardigan by PetiteKnit, by the way. And you still see like a little bit of a hole here, but I think that's the worst one. Oh no, the one at the back is way worse. I'm full of shit today. But yeah, the one here is quite, it's relatively neat, and it's a trick I learned from Norman from Nimble Needles. It's a little bit tighter, basically, than just a normal, what's it called? Backwards loop. I can't, this is going so well today. But your standard cast on that is mentioned in most patterns is going to be just a little bit too loose, and doing a knitted cast on is going to make it just a little bit tighter. And I mean, you can still cheat and go in later and sew in to close the hole a little bit, but we prefer to not add any sewing if it's not needed. So that's the only modification I basically did. I did that for both sides, obviously. And so this morning I picked up the stitches for the neck edge, and I'm on the first round. And another thing I realized is if I hadn't done that, I could have tried this on now. Maybe we still can. I just need to put these stitches on a cord then, because there's no way I can put my head through this little needle thing. Let's maybe do it, because I've not tried this on yet. I've held it up and looked at whether this would work with like a body in it, and it looks like it should. It's not a sweater with a lot of positive ease, but I kind of wanted that. That's why I wanted to test knit this pattern, because it ticked a lot of the boxes. It had lots of cables, lovely cables. It didn't have any seat stitch, which a lot of the patterns have. And I mean, to be clear, I think it's gorgeous because I've also knitted the Moby sweater, which has a lot of seat stitch. But since I already have one like that, I wanted something different. And this one has very simple stockinette on the sides, and it's so nice and easy. You like labor a bit through the cables, because every other round you have to do this middle bit, requires you to cable. But then you get to this nice little patch of stockinette, and it's nice. I can't remember what I was saying. How I got to this? No idea. But let's maybe try it on. Okay, I need to find a cable. I got cables this morning to put the bottom on hold. Okay, I've got awful colours. Are we going to go for the most awful one? I'll tell you what, let's go for yellow, because oh, there's a darker yellow. Let's do that. Yeah, Arch, do you agree? I made this error that I thought when you bought these cables in a web shop, you got one cable. And so I was like, oh, I'll order 3 because that's a good amount. I got 3 packets. I have a lot of these cables. And so what I do is, for smaller circumference, you'll see that on one of my other whips, I just cut them so that there's not an enormous cable dangling down. And I've got so many that I can afford to do that, which was sort of a mistake, but then they were not exactly expensive enough that I would go, oh, let's send them back. Just a couple of euros per bag. And so it would that possibly cost more in shipping to return them than to just keep them? And yeah, I will use them over the years, I guess. Okay, there we go. Now this is going to be a little bit awkward with the ball of yarn there as well, and I still have quite a few markers on here that I used for counting how many stitches I was casting on, because the collar is going to be ribbing, just one by one ribbing, but so I have to make sure it is what's it called, not an odd number, the other one. My brain is totally fried today, to be honest. I've been doing quite a bit of work that I'm supposed to do in a day I just did this morning, which is quite satisfying. But I've got some meetings this afternoon, so I still have to turn up. Oh, and I also kind of, while I'm putting this on, I'm going to tell you my beautiful fill of the start of this week. I had to go to the office twice this week. Normally I go once a week. I go Mondays. But this week I had to go twice, Monday and Tuesday, because I had a stupid mandatory training that I did not enjoy. But I mean, that's a whole different story. And when I have to go 2 days in a row, I book a cheap hotel nearby so that I don't have to commute back and forth, because my commute is very long. It's like 3 hours door to door, and it's not too bad because I can knit on the train, but I have to leave very early to be in time at the office, and that is just not enjoyable to do 2 days in a row. So that's why I stay over. But so I was going to have lots of knitting time, because no taking care of the horses when I come home or anything, no walking the dog. So it was just entirely me time. So I thought, I'm going to have lots of knitting to do. And I ran out of yarn for 2 of my 3 projects and almost ran out of yarn for this one. So that was very handy. Okay, I'm going to have to take my microphone off to try this on. So I'll try to be quiet and not say anything while I do that. This might be handy so you can actually hear me. But I was saying before I remembered my microphone that this is quite a crop top still. When I held it up this morning, I thought, oh, maybe I just have to do the hem still. I mean, okay, this is quite dark, so you can't quite see it, but this is about my waist. So yes, if I wanted a very, very crop top, I could just do the ribbing at the bottom and be done. But I think I will want it just a little bit longer. So I might do just a little bit more. The pattern repeat here in the front, maybe like so that the pattern repeat here is finished, and then I might switch to ribbing. I'm really happy with the sleeves, because while knitting the yoke, I was unsure whether the sleeve, the armhole, was going to be big enough, or if it was going to be, too close into your armhole. But I'm really happy at how it looks now. I think it's really good. It's supposed to be like a sort of a satin sleeve. It's going to have short rows to shape the cap. So it's not supposed to be enormously big, and this looks like a really good size. So I'm very happy with that. The collar, it's not going to be a super big collar because it's already quite close to my neck. So I think it's going to be very short. And then that's one more modification I think I want to do, is do like a little bit of double knitting, but an uneven amount of rows, so that is out of itself, it basically folds over and then knitted down. There's another version, so there's 2 versions sort of in the pattern for the collar. You can do a turtleneck and just normal folded collar, or not folded, or whatever you want. it would look good as a turtleneck as well, but then it's going to get very, very, very warm. And then I prefer to have just a sweater and add a scarf if I want my neck covered, but otherwise it becomes a bit unbearable in some places. But yeah, I think the sleeves are also going to pull this a little bit. So am I being stupid for doing the collar now? Okay, I think I really have to take into account that this will stretch a little bit with blocking. The sleeves are gonna pull on it a little bit, and so that I shouldn't do a tiny mini collar, but I'm not gonna do a normal amount. I think that normal amount. Okay, I'm not gonna do the amount I have done previously because those had much deeper neck holes. But I think this looks very nice. I really like it. I really like these intricate cables in the front. And whenever I whip this out in public, people do comment like, "Oh my god, it looks so difficult." It's like it's not just cables. It's just you just switch four cables in total, but in pairs on your needle, and that's about it. Um, you just have to remember when to do which one. But you've got charts for that. I find it that I don't even need the chart anymore. I think as of in the back already. At some point, you get used to okay. It's always one goes under and then it goes over and then it goes under and then it goes over. So you just look at what your not the previous row but the row before what you did there, and then you do the opposite. It's not quite right because there's also like the longer bit, but you get the gist of it. It's not super complicated. It's not like traveling cables all over the sweater that go from one side all the way to the other. Um, it's it's quite easy to get into a rhythm and get it, and that makes this a super nice knit because it looks very intricate, but it's not very intricate to knit really. And it's a big gauge. It's 4.5mm needles. I've never knitted a sweater so fast. I can't remember when I started this. Let me look that up. Hope I did write it down. Yeah, I started this 3 weeks ago, basically. This might be the only. Nah, I'm not going to finish in another week, so I'm not going to finish within a month. But you could, if you had enough knitting time, you could. It's not like, well, I do knit every day, and I mostly knit on this, but I also have to go to the stables pretty much every evening or every day, and that eats up quite a lot of my time. And I also make these videos, which also eat up quite a lot of my possibly knitting time during the week. So I think it would be definitely possible. So if you want to knit someone a Christmas sweater like this one, it's going to be released at the start of December, I think. Okay, so that's still cutting it short, damn it. Yeah, because the Testknit ends on the 30th of November. That's going to be a little bit cutting it a bit short, but if you're a very fast knitter, you can definitely do it. And anyway, it's a very enjoyable knit. Yeah, no bad things to say about it. It's great. So for all of this, I've just put my third ball in. I ordered 7 in total. I don't think I'm going to need 7. I'm assuming a ball per sleeve, about, and then one more ball for body and hem, and then that's going to be it. So that will add, on top of this one, it will add 2 more balls. So there would be 5 balls instead of 7, which brings down the cost of this quite a bit. I mean, I'll be left with the extra yarn, but that's quite nice. Let me take this off. I'll be back. Here we go. I think that's all the updates for this one. I'm mainly going to continue working on this and on that like new Secret Santa present, but we'll talk about that in a bit. I mean, I need to do the collar and at least one sleeve in the next 2 weeks. And I'm definitely going to be able to do that. So I'm not too worried. But if I manage to finish it by then, it would be even nicer. That's going to be a little bit... Maybe I might take... If I take an extra day off from work, then I might be able to... I don't know. I have to think about whether I want to do that. But that was whip number 1, the Highland sweater. Oh, and I always forget to say it. It's a pattern by A&O Knits. So it's Anna, and she's really lovely. So I think it's A&O Knits on Instagram as well. I'll double check and put it on the screen so you can follow her, and then you'll see when the pattern will be released. Then on to the next one. This is the one that didn't run out of yarn while I was all by myself in a very tiny hotel room. Almost did. I mean, all that's left. But, and also I forgot my yarn winder in France. So I've got one more big cake, and that has to last me until the end of December when we go back. And then I have to bring skein with me and ask my husband to act like a Swift. So, well, not quite, but hold the yarn while I cake it. But anyway, this is going to be a bit shit to show you. Sorry for word choice. Because I like to knit on a much smaller cable than the circumference is. And so that way you're not going to be able to see this very well. But I've made a bit of progress on this, and that's because, oh, don't lose your stitches. The reason because I've been able to make quite a bit of progress is because it's just stockinette. It's quite mindless. It's easy compared to the brioche project, the cabled project. This is so fast. It's really, really lovely. So, yeah, this is really unfortunate to show you like this. But this is my Orchid Bloom pullover. It's all scrunched up, so you can't really see the lace very well, but trust me, it's really, really nice. And quickly, if you've not seen this before, this yarn, the mohair is from Knitting for Olive, it's Forest Berry, and the merino is merino with silk and cashmere from Tôt le Matin yarns. That's an indie dyer based in France, in Brittany, and the colour is Clématite. It's all dyed to order, so you can order this as well. I don't know if she's going to do a Black Friday sale. If she does, I might order some more yarn. Or I just wait until Christmas and I treat myself to, when I get my bonus, treat myself to some more yarn. I don't, no, I shouldn't. You can sort of see my stash back there. That's not all of it. That's the worst part. No, maybe I'm not allowed to buy more yarn. Anyway, I put a marker where I left off last time, and it's there were two very close to each other, but it's the bottom one where I was last time. And so I knitted all of that. Does it focus? Is it focusing? I don't know. It's not. There we go. So yeah, that's all of that. And so I separated for the sleeves. I'm almost thinking that maybe I waited a little bit too long to separate for the sleeves. Okay, so I sort of tried it on before separating for the sleeves. And if this grows a bit with blocking, it's going to be a little bit low. When I blocked this, it didn't grow a lot. So I'm banking on the fact that that will be the case as well for the entire jumper. So yeah, it's the one little thing, but I just could not be bothered to rip back, and I think it's going to look good, a little bit oversized. Anyway, I will have to try this on in a little bit when I get basically enough length that it will be under my bust. And then see if I want to do a few decreases so it's not too wide around my waist, and then do a few increases for hips. I'm not sure about that. I don't think I'm going to knit this one super long. So yeah, I might as well, but it's going to be quite annoying. What I might do is do the other ball, well, cake that I have on the body, and once I've finished that, pick up for the sleeves. It's a bit annoying then after to have to finish the body, but then you can try it on with sleeves and finish the body at what looks nice with the sleeves. And I like my sleeves to be quite long, and so it's easier to then see, am I the right length for the body now or not? I'm not 100% sure yet. I mean, I don't have to make that decision straight away, but yeah, this has progressed quite a bit. It's nice to have an easy stockinette project. I don't know, it's the kind of thing that it's not as mentally stimulating as the other ones, but then once I do start knitting on this, it's very addictive because it's so fast. I would almost say I'm twice as fast knitting a round of this, which has way more stitches than my Highland sweater, but I'm twice as fast when it's around with cables. So yeah, it's nice to start to knit relatively fast and to see so much progress. So yeah, that is that one. I don't have a specific deadline. It would be nice to finish it this year, but let's see what happens. I have some leave at Christmas, so it might happen, but we're also going to be in France, so if the snow is good, we'll go skiing. But we'll see. The other one that I did run out of yarn for in the train on my way to work on Monday, so quite early, which was really annoying, is my Agnete cardigan. And I've not made a huge amount of progress on this, so we're not going to talk about this one in full detail. I can just show you the amount of progress that I've made since that stitch marker. Maybe not have the yarn in front and you can see it a little bit better, but yeah, this little bit is all. So I'm not going to unfold it completely. Now you're up to date. I've made some progress, not as much as I wanted to, so I might knit on this one more day this week because I was not able to knit on this as much as I wanted on Monday, and Monday is my Agnete cardigan day, so that I do make progress on it because it's brioche and it's slow. So yeah, I might do that this weekend or this evening. Yeah, we'll see. It's we'll see. It's also, I feel like I don't have that much progress on this one and the Orchid Bloom pullover recently, or at least in the last 2 weeks. It's okay, but it's also working on 3 whips at the same time. Of course, you spread out your time over several things, and so there's less progress on each of them. We've also, well, not we, but I have started breaking in my youngster, so a horse, and I really dislike the term breaking in English, but I don't know another one. But there's no breaking involved. We take it, so I have someone that helps me because you can't do it by yourself. What you want to do is transfer what you've taught them from the ground. So I'm just standing on the ground and I'm telling him, can you please start walking or trotting or cantering and back slow or stop or walk backwards. So just the basics. And you want him to, well, start to get used to have someone sit on his back, but also that person is going to be the one telling him to go faster or slower. So I have someone, a lovely woman, helping me. But yeah, that's like 3 or 4 sessions a week that we do. So I mean, it's just like a kid. You have to keep on practicing, but very short sessions. But getting him ready for that, doing the session and doing all the aftercare because you want him to enjoy the entire process, takes a lot of time. and so I've also not done any competitions this month. I looked at it and it was just too much bother. So I will do some in December. I qualified for the next level, and so I'm going to do 2 in the next level in December. But I'm not bothering this month. Also, I'm going to visit my brother this month, so I'm going to spend quite a lot of time in a train, so I can knit quite a bit in that time. But I'd like to have the basics done with my young horse before I go. So yeah, that's taking up quite a lot of time. So I hope after that I have Secret Santa. So I'm also going to be busy making that. Oh God, I am crazy. The Secret Santa knitting though. Okay, the way we do it is you buy someone a present, so we have a budget for that. But you also have to make preferably what goes around that present so that the unpacking is fun and preferably funny as well in a little bit, but it can also be very lovely. Or I mean, that's just free how you do it. So one of my friends, the friend that had me last year, made me a giant ball of yarn that was covered in actual yarn that she wrapped around this enormous ball, and I had to unwrap all of it to open the ball that had the present in, which is almost too bad because it was this really fun enormous ball of yarn. And then she had also 3D printed 2 very big knitting needles that were stuck in it. It was really funny. And so that's sort of the kind of idea you can imagine. And then I had her little sister last year who's really into squishmallows. I can't remember. I've passed the age of plushy toys, I guess, a bit. But they're basically those very big plushy toys, sort of all the same shape, but they all have different colors or different names or designs. And so I made her one myself that had a pocket in the back. I'll look if I can find a picture of it. But yeah, it had very cute little ears and it had a pocket in the back, and that's where her presents were tucked in. And so she could use it as a pillow afterwards as well. Yeah, that was quite a nice one. It was quite popular. So I have to top that this year, which is not easy. That was, if I say so myself, I did quite a good job. But new friend this year, and she likes Harry Potter. And so I hope she's not watching this. I don't think she is. Sus, if you're watching this, go away. And anyone else from the friend group, because you're not supposed to know in advance. Anyway, I don't know what present she wants yet. But what I want to do, so since she's in Harry Potter, I've ordered 2 sort of like papier mâché. I don't know if that's an English term, but that look like a book, but it's sort of a box. So the cover of the book opens and it's like the lid of the box, and you can paint those into whatever you want. So I've also ordered paint because I don't know where my paint is. I have lots of watercolors, but that doesn't work for this. It has to be something much more covering, and I don't know where my acrylics are, so I ordered some new acrylics, and I'm going to paint them like wizarding books. So I ordered 2 of those books to paint, because then one is going to contain the knitting present I'm going to make, because just, hand painting books is not enough of a handmade thing. I have to do more, because it's silly, because I only have less than a month left, but okay, whatever. And then I'll have a second one for if she finally fills in her list of stuff she would like, then I'm going to add that present in there. So she'll have 2 books with presents in both of them. What I have found for my knitting present, I have been watching some videos with people knitting mittens. And I thought, how perfect for the holiday season to have mittens as a gift. And so I checked on Ravelry for mittens with a Harry Potter inspired pattern. And of course, there's loads. There's some that are really nice, but the pattern's not available anymore. I think they had like different patterns for the 4 different houses in Hogwarts, which was really cool. But all 4 patterns are discontinued. You can't find them anymore. Um, and it used to be a paid pattern, so I don't want to go and ask around if someone can send it to me for free. But that pattern, that one, for the Gryffindor house, that was called Brave at Heart. You can look it up. Um, but it was in quite a small gauge. So the chance of me finishing that one was also already quite small. So I kept on scrolling and I found the Patronus Mittens um, by Amanda something. Amanda Sund. There we go. And they have this really nice design of the stag with the Deathly Hallows icon logo, not logo, I don't know how you would call it, but above the stag. And then just in general, very nice mittens. So I thought I would do those in Gryffindor colours. So I've ordered yarn for that. When it comes in, I'll talk about acquisitions and then I can show it to you. So, but red and yellow basically. So I'm gonna have to do that in the next few weeks. I have to knit one pair of mittens, and it's color work, and I've never done stranded color work before, so this is gonna be fun. And I'm in order to be able to finish this, it's a bit rubbish to just give someone one mitten and say the other one will come at some point in the next few weeks. I might have to take some more leave off work, just take a day or 2 off and then really concentrate on this, or maybe I take half days. I don't know. This plan only fully formed, so the entirety of the plan fully formed this morning. The mittens, I had the idea yesterday, and so I looked for a pattern and I ordered the yarn yesterday already. But then the book thing, at first I was like, maybe I could make a book myself, but then cut out the middle. I know how to do like book binding. I went to a kind of weird school, guys. I learned this kind of things in school, which was awesome. Instead of just making one book, I made 3 that were all attached together, and that you could open one and then you would open the other one. And anyway, complete side quest thing here. I'm sorry, but I did think about, do I make a book myself? And then it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it uses quite a few tools and materials that I don't have. So I would have had to get all of that, and it seemed like an awful lot of trouble. And so I decided against that. And so this morning, basically Googled, can I buy a book with a hole in it somewhere that I can paint? And I'm not the first person that came up with this idea ever, because it exists and there's quite a lot of them. And so I got some, well, ordered some, and now I hope they're gonna arrive before the weekend, because then I can do it this weekend. I can like paint them and then they're ready, and I just have to figure out the presents that are gonna go in them. Yeah, it's easy peasy. Yeah, I'll show them on this channel when they're finished, because it's kind of crafty. It's nice. Anyway, this was like mostly not knitting, but the pattern for the mittens, I'm all over the place. I'm sorry, guys, but the pattern for the mittens, so the Patronus mittens, it's supposed to be for an Aran weight. I've ordered a big DK, and I hope it's going to work. You can relatively easily add some stitches like on the sides. So I'll see. It might be interesting, this one. But I looked at what other yarns people have used for different projects, and I think I should be fine. Also looked at the yarn that is supposedly an Aran, but it's knitted on very tiny needles, and I'm going to use slightly bigger needles than it says in the pattern, and so I think I'll be fine. But we'll discuss all of that when the yarn comes in and when I start knitting it. But this might be quite a fast, well, I hope it's going to be a fast project. but it's going to be my first colour work, so that's interesting. And then I can at some point do a colourwork sweater that I'm going to have to cast on for my husband. If I ever want it to be ready for his birthday, I mean, I don't know what I'm doing to myself, but this is going to be crazy. At least I've got quite a bit of time off in January. So I hope I can get a decent amount of knitting time there to make some progress. So yeah, I think, so that is it for sort of short-term planning, which means that my autumn plans are not going that great. So when I made my autumn plans, I was planning on casting on the low tide and the Esther sweater in autumn and get started on them and possibly finish one or two projects. I also had a couple of accessories. I had the solarium hat, which I have casted on and I have finished, so points for that. I had a coat for Archie, who you can't see but is still on my lap. I've not even started that. I had planned to start socks in October, and it's almost the middle of November. I still have not cast on socks. I have the yarn, so I have to cast them on at some point. But yeah, just, it hasn't happened yet. And I think basically what completely derailed my projects is deciding to do a test knit, which I had not set any time aside for because I didn't think I was going to do it until I saw the Highland sweater and I fell in love, and I really thought this is my chance to try test knitting as well. And it's taken up quite a bit of time. It's basically taken up almost my second week of holiday in October, and I could have at least done a sock during that time. And so I'm not saying that I would be perfectly on track because my autumn plans were a little bit ambitious. My autumn plans were a bit ambitious anyway, but completely derailed them. So I still want to do low tide. I still want to do the Esther sweater. I have the yarn for it, so I have to do it. So yeah, that is all going to be pushed back a bit. So the Esther sweater I still want to do in winter because it's going to be a very nice one to wear in winter. The low tide might be quite nice for spring, so I might do the Esther one first and then the low tide because it's okay if it finishes a little bit later. But I also wanted to do two sweaters. I want to do one color work sweater in winter, and also start on my birthday project. And I've not bought the yarn yet. I now know who is going to contribute to the yarn, and when I'm visiting my brother in Munich this month, I'm going to go to a yarn shop there where they do have La Mana yarns, where I can look at the colors in real life and feel whether I go for the merino or the merino and cashmere, because that might be really nice. So it's going to be a very expensive project, and that's why I want to see the yarn, feel the yarn before I make a decision. But that's yet another sweater that I want to make, and I don't know in what time. Maybe I need to take a sabbatical and then I can finally knit everything I want. That's not going to happen. The horses are not paying for themselves, unfortunately. But so there were those two sweaters that I wanted to make in. Thanks, laptop, for adding balloons. I did not want that. There's going to show it like that because then it's not going to do it. Two sweaters that I wanted to knit in the winter. So basically, that's a sneak peek into my winter plans. With whatever was left from autumn. And then my mum also finally decided what she wants for her birthday, and it's very much a winter project, so it would be nice if I could at least have that before spring is here, basically. And I don't know, I told her it would probably be a present for over 2 years because it's quite involved. I mean, it's this cardigan basically in one size smaller, but it doesn't make a huge difference. So yeah, either I really pushed that one back, or I start it and it's going to be ready somewhere in spring and it's a little bit rubbish because then she can't wear it straight away. But if I have it ready for her, for fuck's sake. But yeah, if I have it ready for her birthday, that's not great either because that's the end of May. So not helpful either for timing. So I don't know about that one. But yeah, that's a lot of things I want to do. And realistically speaking, I'm not going to be able to do all of them. So I'm going to have to make some choices. We'll talk about that in a video about actual winter plans. That will come somewhere in December. Because before that, I want to do a video on lots of knitting accessories. Okay, wait, I can turn this off on my laptop. I also want to do a video on knitting knitted accessories for winter, so like hoods and cowls and scarves, and also like little gift knits things. I'd like to do that before Christmas as sort of like the gift knit idea. Then another thing, a list that I've been slowly adding things to is what to get for your knitting person in your life as a gift for Christmas, for example. So another one that I'd like to film before Christmas. And then there was one more, and I forgot what. But yeah, so quite a few things I'd like to share, discuss. Oh yeah, and then there's new patterns, of course, because there's constantly being new patterns being uploaded to Ravelry, and there's some really, really nice ones, guys. So it's a lot of things coming. So maybe I have to do Vlogmas, and then I'll be able to fit all of that in. I don't know where I'm going to find the time to do that because creating these videos takes, okay, I blab for a long time. So first of all, there's the time to record this, but then editing all of that blah 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 takes a lot of time as well. The post-production process is, I really enjoy it, but it's quite long, and sometimes I'm thinking, what am I doing to myself? I could be knitting. Do I want to do more than one video a week? I'm not sure, it's already quite a lot, but we'll see. Let me know if you want Vlogmas, but then I will have to cut them in like shorter bits because otherwise it's going to be absolutely impossible, or I would have to take the entire week off. But my channel's not monetized, so I'm not sure if that's a very sound decision. Yeah, we'll see. But that's a lot of goodies to come in the, well, next month and a half. I might smear it out so that it's a little bit more than that, and we'll see. But also need time in between to actually knit. So we also have knitting updates. Okay, this video has gotten a bit out of hand, I feel, and I do have to get back to work because I finally managed to film during the day, but this is my lunch break and I do need to do a little bit more work. Quite a bit more before I finish for today. So I think this will be it for today. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I always feel like that. And then it turns out I have not necessarily forgotten anything. But we talked about the whips. We talked about changes to the plans, upcoming possible videos. Let me know if you have a favorite that you would like to see first. And also let me know what you're knitting on. It's a super great way to discover new patterns. So yes, some of them have made it onto my I want to knit this too list. So yeah, keep sharing them. That's really nice. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It is a very nice little feedback loop, way for me to know that you did enjoy this. And then we've come to the end. So I will see you next week at 5 p.m. And I'm not sure what video it will be yet. So surprise, surprise, you will discover that next week. For now, have a lovely weekend or a week if you see this a little bit later. Happy knitting, of course, in the meantime, and see you next week. Bye bye.